Hi, it's Avram Goldar from RememberYourLearning.com, and this is episode number 5 in the Daf Yomi series. Okay, I want to give over one phenomena many people experience in learning, and then I'm going to go over the siman for today's daf, and we'll review the simanim that we did yesterday. So ever happened to you that when you're learning, let's say through a few dafim, then everything starts to blur? Like you remember you did it just a day ago or 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and it's just a big mush in your mind? I call that learning blur. Right? We're learning ahead, we're going further, we're maybe even doing chazorah, but it's still pretty blurry. And this learning blur actually isn't just limited to Daf Yomi or Gemara. It can happen in Chumash. Many people have gone through Chumash many times, but when they think about it, it's more or less a blur to them. They can discern certain things, but it's blurry. Mishnais, halacha. I call it learning blur. So we don't want that to happen, especially in Daf Yomi, and I think Daf Yomi is probably one of the greatest most obvious places that it happens, because given the pace and the amount of material they're going through, it's so easy to get into that learning blur phenomena, and it's very debilitating because you can only feel so blurry on so much material after so much time. So there's a simple cure for it, and it's called making simanim. Yes, I'm talking about simanim again because we're getting into a new habit, and I just want to make it like a one-day thing. You really got to get going on the simanim and making sure you're getting it. So if you haven't started yet, hopefully today will push you into doing the simanim. And plus there's a lot to understand about why simanim are so powerful. So there's two reasons why simanim really help in terms of learning blur. First of all, whenever anybody learns anything, the moment they pick up their head from the sefer, well, where does the material go? It starts to just sort of dissolve or fade away. It wasn't packaged in any which way, so you're getting involved with whatever you're looking at or doing now, and the material just starts to, I'll call it dissolve, spread out and dissolve. So when you make a siman, what you're doing is you're packaging your learning. You're sort of putting whatever you've learned into some unit that you have contained in some way. No matter how good the container is, it's contained somewhat, so it's now someplace in your brain. And we spoke about that yesterday. There's another major benefit, a learning benefit to making simanim is that when you just learn without making simanim, so you can go along dandily from one inyan to the next, and then you're on to the next daf. But when you make a siman, you're more or less confronted with the decision of, well, what should be my siman? What's ikar, what's tafel? What's the main pieces of the stuff, or the main sugyas? What stuff is tafel? What's maybe secondary? So that's one consideration in learning that makes us sort of qualify what we've learned. It also gets us to think about, well, what's connected to what? So instead of just looking at the daf as a number of different things, especially in these daf that we're going through, which is a lot of agadita, it gets us to think like, well, maybe these names are really connected, or how are they connected? So making the siman makes us tighten the material and hold it as one, and it gets us to connect the material. So that's good. Those are two important things. And I'll just say that as you make simanim, what will happen is when you get back to reviewing the daf or inyanim on the daf, because you have the siman, instead of learning something and getting blurrier, every time you now chazar that and review that daf, you actually be tightening, you be clarifying the daf because you've created a focus, and that focus is going to help you get focus on the rest of the daf that you didn't put into your siman. So we're going to see that's a very important thing, and we want to get rid of learning blur. So if you start the simanim yesterday, I think you'll start to find, or you should feel by now, from Daf Beis through, hey, it's not so blurry anymore. Daf Vav, I should say. It's not so blurry anymore. Today will become less blurry on Daf Zayin. If you haven't started, then chances are by today, Daf Beis through Daf Vav are pretty blurry. We don't want that. It's only going to take away your will, your ratzon to move forward and feel the benefit of Daf Yomi. So let's tighten up. Let's get rid of the learning blur. And now it's on today's sentence.